This is CBS News Chicago.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dana Kozlov.
I'm Jackie Kostek in for Audrina this morning. Thanks so much for being with us. Now at 9, a memorial growing outside of a bar in Hammond, Indiana. Now the scene of a deadly mass shooting. This morning, we're learning how the victims were trying to help a woman caught in a domestic situation.
And a fire investigation is underway in Carpentersville where 2 kids were killed in a house fire. We're on the scene as multiple fire agencies plan to look into what possibly caused it today.
And parts of the Chicago area cleaning up today after Sunday's strong storms. A look at the hardest hit areas, plus what to expect for your forecast today. But let's begin with your nonstop news in Hammond, Indiana. Police say someone is in custody after a deadly mass shooting.
2 people died and 3 others were injured in what police say was a domestic situation at a bar over the weekend. Asal Razai is live at the Portside pub where the shooting happened. Good morning, Asal.
Yeah, good morning, Dana, Jackie. There's a growing memorial here. I'll show you if you take a look here behind us. There's flowers and candles here just on the doorstep under multiple bullet holes you'll see here on the door. It says online that the bar is open from 7 a.m. till 3 a.m., though it doesn't seem like anybody is here right now. If you take a look at this video, you'll see that the Hammond mayor, Thomas McDermott Jr., made this post to Facebook and named who they believe is responsible for the double homicide. We're still waiting for formal charges to come down before we identify that suspect. This morning, friends and families of the victims are still trying to grapple with how quickly this turned deadly. We're told this all started in the parking lot next door to the Portside pub here near 116th Street and Indianapolis Boulevard around 4 o'clock yesterday morning. Police say the victims include a bartender and 3 patrons who were bravely trying to help a woman involved in that domestic related incident. Their efforts met with more violence. 3 people taken to the hospital, 2 people died at the scene. Friends of some of those victims, in disbelief, their lives were taken when they were just trying to help.
You shot through a door. Anybody could have got hit, you know. That was just an act of a coward. I don't know what the intentions, what the motives was, but I lost 2 people, 2 friends.
Alcohol, and it was a domestic situation. Too many guns, a bar open too late. It's a recipe for disaster.
And you heard from Hammond's mayor there. He says the bar was actually violating the law and was not supposed to be operating at that hour. He says that that's something that will be handled today. Also, by the end of today, Hammond police say they're expecting charges against that person they have in custody. Live in Indiana, I'm Asal Razai, CBS News Chicago.
Asal, thank you. We're still waiting to learn what caused a house fire that killed 2 children in Carpentersville, northwest of Chicago. The fire chief says crews were called to a home on Kingston Circle around 9:30 yesterday morning. Firefighters rescued 4 people, but 2 children died as a result of that fire. 2 dogs also died. So ahead at 9:30, our Marissa Perlman will have an update on that investigation as multiple fire agencies plan to be back on the scene today. We're also waiting to learn the cause of a deadly fire in Chicago's Kenwood neighborhood over the weekend. 2 people died, 4 others were injured. This was the scene yesterday morning near 46th and Woodlawn. Sources tell us a 14-year-old jumped from the building into an alley to escape the flames.
They had on like the pajamas, no shoes. So they were walked away. I just hope everyone's okay. But there's big response. They got here fast, and there's a lot of them.
Sources believe the fire started in the rear of the 3-story building, but there is no word on how it started.
People in parts of northwest Indiana are cleaning up after yesterday's heavy winds. Right now, NIPSCO says thousands of people are still without power. The storms had Lake and Newton counties under tornado warnings. We saw people in Highland cleaning up a massive tree that fell on this house. That's near the same area hit hard by storms a few weeks ago. And people who live in Roseland, Indiana, got the brunt of the severe weather. They say they got the tornado warning on their phones, and within 2 minutes, trees were on homes and garages, and wind ripped siding off buildings.
It must have been a tornado because we went in the hallway, the whole house shook. and we've got a tree on top of the house broken over the ridge.
We heard a huge bang and a tree fell through our house. All 4 of my girls' rooms are destroyed.
In Illinois, a business owner in South Chicago Heights was left with this debris after the roof was blown off an auto body shop. And some students in Gary returned from spring break today to attend classes at a temporary location. This is a look at the damage caused by tornadoes a week and a half ago in Gary. It ripped off part of the roof at Frankie Wood's McCullough Academy. The school canceled classes for the rest of that week and then had spring break last week. Kindergarten through 5th grade students at McCullough will now be attending class at the Gary Career Center. School leaders are still assessing the damage at McCullough and planning repairs. It's not clear when students and teachers will be able to return to that school building.
Turning now to our weather today and taking a live look outside at our lakefront, and it is a gray morning out there. Gloomy. But I do believe we're expecting just a little bit of sunshine to break through later on this afternoon, bringing in meteorologist Mary Kay Kleist, who's in our First Alert Weather Center. Mary Kay, good morning. What are we looking at ahead?
Good morning. Yes, a hint of sunshine later on, but check this out. So many storm reports from yesterday's event, a lot of it being wind damage, and we were talking hurricane force winds. The highest wind gust, Valparaiso, 81 miles per hour. Lake of the Four Seasons, 75 mile per hour winds. Incredible winds caused all that damage. Even Navy Pier had a wind gust of 50. As you plan your day, it's so much colder today. 75 was the high yesterday, low 40s today. Crossing our fingers for a little late day sun, but for now it feels like the mid-20s, even though temperatures are in the mid and upper 30s. Those northerly winds will be blowing down the lake, keeping things chilly, especially along the lakefront. Already, we are tracking our next severe weather event coming in tomorrow night into Wednesday. So we want you weather ready. We are posting an early weather alert for the middle of the week because of that midweek storm threat. There's a high chance we could see multiple hazards, even the risk of some rotating thunderstorms. I'll time this out coming up in your First Alert forecast. Jackie, Dana.
All right, we'll see you in a bit, Mary Kay. Thank you. As we keep an eye on your world this morning, the death toll from that devastating earthquake in Southeast Asia stands at more than 1,700 people.
The 7.7 magnitude earthquake hit on Friday. The worst devastation was in Myanmar's Mandalay region, where temples and mosques filled with worshipers were reduced to rubble, and multiple bridges collapsed as well. In New York City, a man with family in that region says that his family is now sleeping on the street after finding cracks in the walls of their homes.
Mandalay, the whole city is like a lot of building collapse. They can't even eat and cook in their kitchen.
They're afraid to go into the house.
Yeah, so they don't have any food to eat.
In Thailand, the earthquake collapsed a 30-story construction site. Officials in Thailand say at least 17 people died and dozens more were injured. Rescuers in Thailand and Myanmar are still searching for those missing.
The Israeli Defense Force has ordered most of Rafah to evacuate in the Gaza Strip. It comes after Israel ended the ceasefire in its war with Hamas, restarted a ground war, and cut off aid into Gaza. Israel previously launched a major operation in Rafah, which is near the Egypt border, last May, leaving much of that city in ruins. And today, thousands of people protested and marched through the streets of New York City to commemorate Land Day. The Institute for Palestine Studies says this day honors when Palestinians in Israel went on general strike and organized mass demonstrations in 1976. The Institute says the protest was in defense of Palestinian land that Israel was threatening to take for Jewish settlements.
Today marks the 30th year since the tragic death of music superstar Selena. Fans in Dallas took this weekend to commemorate the Mexican-American singer with traditional Selena clothing and Tejano music. The event comes just days after Selena's murderer, Yolanda Saldivar, was denied parole. Selena's nephew traveled from San Antonio to be a part of the special annual celebration.
It feels like the community here really loves Selena. Everywhere they do, of course, but this event, it's nice to feel the love in the air for Selena.
Saivani hopes his aunt is remembered for all that she touched during her short life. Well, a new round of tariffs are set to kick in this week, and that includes an extra 25% on imported vehicles and parts.
And some Americans are worried it could lift prices. Meanwhile, President Trump throws out the idea of a third term. CBS News' Derek Waller reports.
I have had more people say, please run again.
President Trump hinting over the weekend he could run for a third term, even though the Constitution prohibits presidents from serving more than 2 terms.
We have a long way to go before we even think about that.
This week, President Trump is set to ratchet up his trade war with few specifics on reciprocal tariffs expected to kick in Wednesday.
We'll be far more generous than those countries were to us.
There's also the president's new 25% tax on imported vehicles and auto parts. The United Auto Workers president told Face the Nation Sunday the move could bring jobs back to the U.S.
Tariffs aren't the total solution. Tariffs are a tool in the toolbox to get these companies to do the right thing.
But a new CBS News poll shows that many Americans are concerned tariffs will raise prices. 64% said the president is not focused enough on lowering prices, while 55% said he's too focused on tariffs.
Products will go up. Americans will pay more.
Over the weekend, President Trump told NBC News that he couldn't care less if car companies raised prices in response to tariffs, also threatening bombs and what he called secondary tariffs against Iran, which would punish countries that do business with Iran unless there's a deal over its nuclear program. It comes after Iran's president rejected an offer to directly negotiate with the U.S. I'm Derek Waller, CBS News.
Our thanks to Derek. And concern is growing among international students after a new technology company claims in January its facial recognition tool was able to identify a woman during a pro-Palestinian march despite her mask and headscarf. The private group says it sent a list of names to the Trump administration saying the protesters should be deported. It is not clear if names from these groups reached top officials, but concern has grown since Mahmoud Khalil's arrest near Columbia University.
I have the privilege of being in New York City and studying in the U.S. And the things that I say here are powerful and they matter.
Then you ask yourself, oh, well, if you're proud of yourself and you don't think you're doing anything illegal, then why are you hiding your face?
The American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee executive director says he is concerned groups using this software will make mistakes and single out students who did nothing wrong.
Today is Transgender Day of Visibility, and trans leaders, trans-led organizations, and politicians are coming together to speak at Chicago City Hall. Transgender people make up less than 1% of the U.S. population, but they've been targeted by politicians at the federal and state level. At 10 o'clock this morning, organizers say they will reaffirm their fight for trans rights, dignity, and safety.
Well, if you picked the favorites, your bracket might be looking pretty good in March Madness.
Yeah, the men's Final Four is set. How the teams are making history. We'll hear reaction from players and coaches.
And we can personally attest that getting a good night's sleep can sometimes be a tough order.
Yes.
In today's Mental Health Minute, simple things to help you maximize your sleep and improve your well-being. A citywide adoption was a huge success, finding homes for 130 pets. This weekend, Chicago Animal Care and Control joined forces with Paws Chicago and other groups. The Rescue Together event hoped to get 100 pets adopted, and they clearly crushed that goal. We're told at one point there were lines of people hoping to adopt stretching down the street. The groups thanked the community for all of their support.
The dogs look absolutely full of joy, too.
They do.
They're outside, the tails are wagging, the heads are being scratched.
I got to tell you, I had a photographer, Paul Wheeler, who's since retired, who told me that rescues know forever. Yes. But they said they know that you rescued them and they love you more for it, and I believe it.
I believe that too, because your dog came from Paws Chicago too, right?
Yep, and yes. All right, so Mary Kay, we're talking here about pets. I don't know if you agree with that, but I know you're going to agree with one thing. I wish it was warmer.
Yeah.
I think that's why those dogs were all giddy and excited. Everybody had a taste of spring fever.
Right.
Well, today 40s, low 40s, and it's going to feel like the 30s. We do have a weather alert posted already for Wednesday. And you know what? This could start as early as Tuesday night. We're going to monitor this storm track very carefully. Tuesday night, the storms start to target Chicago. We could have some active weather at night. But Wednesday, that's the day the Storm Prediction Center is really keeping an eye on us. So here's tomorrow night. We're on a level 1 in the city on a scale of 1 to 5 for severe weather at night. To the west, though, it goes up to a level 2. And then check this out. On Wednesday, our entire area, even Kenosha County and Racine, have a level 3. So this is going to be a very active time late Tuesday night, right through the heat of the day on Wednesday. We are looking forward to a little bit of clearing this afternoon, but it's chilly. And even in the morning tomorrow, I think you could have a little sun before we cloud up and that first line of thunderstorm activity moves in Tuesday night. But boy, on Wednesday, it gets active. Those gusty thunderstorms could bring all weather hazards. We could see some localized flooding, large hail, damaging winds, and maybe even some of those could rotate. So we will be monitoring that carefully. In the meantime, what you see is what you get out there for the morning. It is cloudy, windy, and chilly. Yeah, we're putting 35 on there, but it feels like 25 degrees. So plan for the 20s with clouds this morning and those chilly winds. But as we get into the afternoon, a little bit of sunshine before it sets. 42, that's it. Boy, we're about 10 degrees colder than we should be. And tomorrow, a lake breeze as well, 44 for the daytime high. In the middle of the week, though, that's when we have that severe threat building. And again, it could come as early as Tuesday night, especially in that 10 to midnight time frame. So storms coming Tuesday night, peaking on Wednesday. After that, we have a quiet day Thursday. And for Cub fans, who, if you're headed to Wrigley, what a typical spring game, because you have temperatures in the 40s. It'll never feel like that because you're going to have a northeasterly wind coming straight off that chilly lake, and those temperatures are going to feel like the 30s. And I think it's going to be a chilly game for us. At least it'll be dry, though. Let's get a quick check of the roads, though. Chris Habermel has the first alert traffic for us. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Mary Kay. Hi, everybody. Are we ready for having this Monday over? It has been very challenging, and the challenges continue. So off to the maps we go. There's a lot of red out there, and I have a rail note as well here as we gaze at the core expressways. The CTA Brown line has been cut in half. It's not running on the north end from Kimball to Belmont. It's still running from Wellington into the Loop. Shuttle buses are in place. That's some sort of a mechanical problem up there on the north end. Core expressways doing what you would expect, especially with the Kennedy being the worst of the bunch. And guess what happens tomorrow? Not only is it April 1st, but things change. The snow route parking ban goes away. Yeah, but then we start sweeping the streets, so still watch for the signs. Instead of on the poles, be strapped to the trees. Chris Habermel, CBS News Chicago.
I'm Marie Saavedra with today's Mental Health Minute. Truly, last night I was laying in bed trying to go to sleep, found myself tossing and turning, and I'm running through sort of what I can do to finally get to sleep. I got up, I turned my thermostat down, and really within a few minutes I was out. So today we're talking about the things you can do to maximize your sleep when you're struggling, and we're getting some great tips from Dr. Catherine Hansen. She is a psychologist with Endeavor Health. So doctor, temperature might be a thing, but what are some other good tips and tricks if we're trying to get a great night's sleep?
Right. So sleep, and really good healthy sleep, is one of those foundational building blocks for physical and mental health.
Sure.
So we really want to maximize our opportunities to get good sleep. What you did, a cool environment for sleeping is really helpful. Make sure it's dark and comfortable. Also being able to power down on your devices. That's hard for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
But when we're talking about devices, we mean our phones, computers, even television.
Yeah.
And you want to try to do that about an hour before you go to sleep. That can be really helpful as well. Deep breathing exercises, mindfulness, meditation, those things can also be really helpful to try to quiet the mind and allow you to kind of welcome sleep.
And how long should we be shooting for a great night's sleep?
So it changes with different ages, but adults should really be shooting for 7 to 9 hours of good, solid, restful sleep every night.
Now, if your problems persist or feel a bit more serious, don't hesitate to talk to your doctor, but give those tips a try when you put your head on the pillow and take a minute for your mental health.
And for more quick ways to boost your spirit, head to cbschicago.com/mentalhealthminute. What do you keep your home at temperature-wise at night?
At night, I keep turning it down.
Yeah.
Like I like to sleep at like 67.
67 is pretty, yeah, that's pretty cold.
And then set it so it goes up when I have to get out of bed.
Nice, yes. I've been finding myself going over to the thermostat and like kicking it up to 74 in the morning just to be like nice and warm. But I do like it cold at night.
Well, that's warm.
Anywho, okay, just in the morning when I'm getting ready. It's so cold at 2:30 in the morning. Okay.
I know, it's rough.
Next, a top-tier Final Four matchup. So how the remaining teams are preparing for the final weekend of that tournament.
And good morning. We are joining you once again from the DuPage Children's Museum here in Naperville. We've shown you all the fun that they have going on here. But of course, at some point, these kids want to wind down. They want to calm down, and the parents may need to do that too. So we're going to take you inside the Wonder Room because this is the place where the kiddos are able to do just that. It is very sensory, and I am trying to see if I can get one of these to go off now. Take a look at the projector. You can see as it takes them through the different natures, through water, through the trees and the forest. We have a lot more coming up at 9:45. Hey, everybody.
Well, the Final Four is set for the men's side in March Madness.
And all 4 #1 seeds made it. The only other time that happened was back in 2008, which I remember because I went to Kansas and Kansas won the whole tournament, which was awesome. But this year, Auburn, Duke, Houston, and Florida are headed to San Antonio this weekend for a shot at that trophy. And this weekend, players and coaches reflected on making it this far.
You know, words can't even describe it. You know, the fact that this team, you know, who's been working so hard from the time we got here to, you know, even the first time I talked to Coach, you know, this was a part of our plans, a part of our goals. The whole Auburn family, it just means the world to me to kind of be able to deliver for, you know, Auburn family.
We didn't get good the last 36 hours. You know, it's you know, we just went through the Big 12 tournament. The thing I like about this team, I don't think they overreact to anything. You know, we have a good team, and whoever we play is our next game, and we get prepared for it, and that's been our secret sauce.
When you look at successions, and very, very rarely is this thing, do people succeed, you know, following, I mean, there's Coach K's one of one, but following a legendary or a great coach. I'll tell you, for me, a huge thing was having that year, though. You know, and for Coach K to be able to have the vision. I don't know how many coaches genuinely want to see the program succeed when they leave. And for me, I've always wanted to make him proud.
It is going to be such a good weekend of basketball. You can watch both games right here on CBS News Chicago on Saturday. Florida versus Auburn is expected to tip off a little after 5 o'clock, and then Duke versus Houston will start just before 8 o'clock. Can't wait. On the women's side, we're still waiting to find out who will make it to the Final Four. In yesterday's game, South Carolina beat Duke and UCLA beat LSU. This is South Carolina's 5th straight Final Four, and they're going for back-to-back crowns. And it is the first women's Final Four for UCLA. Today, TCU is playing Texas, and UConn is taking on USC.
Lots of great games coming up.
I mean, I think especially in the men's side with all the #1 seeds, it's just going to be like they've all been so dominant.
They have.
So
it's really amazing to watch.
It really is.
So these will be good matchups.
They've earned the Final Four weekend, baby. It's going to be good.
Well, next, making public transit more accessible. The project kicking off today at one of the CTA's Green Line stops.
This is CBS News Chicago.
Good Monday morning to you. I'm Jackie Kostek in for Audrina.
And I'm Dana Kozlov. Thanks so much for staying with us on this Monday. Ahead this half hour, Chicago poet Kay Love the Poet is live in studio with us ahead of her show at City Winery. We'll talk to her about how she got into spoken word, and she'll give us a glimpse of what to expect for tonight's show.
And in your first alert forecast, a break from the storms today, but it will definitely feel cooler outside. It already does. We're also tracking another severe storm threat later this week. Let's bring in meteorologist Mary Kay Kleist with more. Mary Kay, good morning.
Jackie, Dana, good morning. We're stuck in this thick cloud deck for the moment, but look what's taking shape near La Crosse, Wisconsin, almost to the Quad Cities. Little clearing there. So we are hoping for some late day clearing before the sun goes down. Boy, those winds have changed. They're straight out of the north, and that is making it feel so cold. Yesterday we enjoyed 75 degrees at O'Hare. Right now it feels like 25. It feels like 25 Waukegan, 28 Kankakee, and it feels like 22 degrees for you in DeKalb. So yes, we're cloudy. Temperatures are about 10 degrees colder than they should be, but when you factor in the wind, we're in the 30s, maybe some late day clearing. So cold today, cold tomorrow, but tomorrow night into Wednesday, we're giving you a first alert for another severe threat, especially peaking during the day on Wednesday as temperatures warm up almost to 70. We will time this out coming up in your first alert forecast. Jackie, Dana.
Okay, Mary Kay, thank you. Well, we have a devastating update to a fire in Carpentersville yesterday morning. A family friend now confirms a third child has died.
And Marissa Perlman is live with that update. And Marissa, this is such a tragic story, and there are still so many questions about how this fire happened.
Exactly. Good morning to both of you. This community really rooting for this entire family. That child who we now know passed away overnight at the hospital, just 2 years old. That family friend telling us all three of these kids were in the hospital, or rather were sleeping in the basement and trapped when this fire started. Now, a police car is still parked here overnight. Neighbors have been placing flowers, a big teddy bear outside of the home, and kind of a makeshift memorial to honor those three young boys. And again, all of these questions about how this fire started. It spread so quickly, it appears by the time that firefighters arrived on scene, the home was fully engulfed in flames. Once here, fire crews say they found 4 people who were inside, but it was too late to save those 2 kids. The 3 boys, 2-year-old twin boys and a 1-year-old boy, were living here with their parents and their grandparents. Friends of the family tell us the grandmother was taken to the hospital and treated for smoke inhalation, but now is expected to be okay. We also know 2 of the family's dogs died in the fire. We're told the ATF and the state fire marshal were on scene here in the hours after that fire was put out. But again, now 24 hours officially after this fire started, investigators are still trying to learn how the fire started. The village president here still, again, trying to put together how this happened and trying to figure out how the community can come together to support this family in the days after they're now mourning the loss of these 3 little boys. We'll keep you posted as soon as we hear from officials here throughout the morning. For now, we're live in Carpentersville. I'm Marissa Perlman, CBS News Chicago.
That's just so sad, Marissa. Thank you. Well, Chicago Public Schools and the Teachers Union could be days away from finalizing a new deal. This after nearly a year of contract talks. The CTU's bargaining team will vote on that tentative agreement today, and if they approve it, rank and file members and the Chicago Board of Education will then vote on it. The union had talked about the possibility of a strike if a deal wasn't reached soon. And tonight, educators are coming together at the Chicago Teachers Union headquarters to discuss the Trump administration's recent cuts to the federal workforce. They say the cuts are harming communities and will also have a large economic impact. The meeting will be in person and online at 5:30 p.m. And today, Kenwood and Hyde Park residents will discuss the possibility of a permanent homeless shelter in their neighborhood. They're holding an emergency town hall meeting at 5 this afternoon at Nichols Park. The city's announced plans to add hundreds of beds to a shelter near 49th and Chicago Beach. The former Best Western Plus Hyde Park was a state-run facility to house migrants and later opened up beds to homeless families as well. Residents say they hope state and local officials will attend today's meeting to answer questions about the new expansion.
Well, today is the start of a major project aiming to make the CTA's Austin Green Line station more accessible. City officials are holding a groundbreaking ceremony at this hour for this $25 million station reconstruction project. So starting in June, the main entrance of that station will close so that crews can help make the station more accessible to people with disabilities. Riders will still be able to access the CTA services through the auxiliary entrance. Work is expected to continue into early next year. This comes as the Chicago Transit Authority dropped a new podcast this morning. Take a listen.
Welcome to Moving Experiences, Stories of the CTA.
This podcast will feature the CTA acting president, CTA employees, leaders in the public transit industry, and more. Their first episode will help close out Women's History Month by holding a conversation focused on female leaders in transit. The podcast is available now on all major services, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Today is the last day of early voting for municipal elections across the Chicago area. Election day is tomorrow. Voters in Cook, DuPage, McHenry, and Will counties are casting ballots to elect the next mayors, trustees, and other leaders. Early voting is offered at certain in-person locations, and you can vote at any of them, not just the one in your own town or precinct. If you're not registered to vote, you can do that online. You can also register on Election Day. Again, that is tomorrow. You can find more information on our website, cbschicago.com. And tonight at 10 in Eye on Chicago, it's Women's History Month, and we're celebrating an entrepreneur with a decidedly artistic bent.
And it seems there is nothing she can't do. So Chicago native Amanda Harth is one busy woman. She creates art, fragrance, and even co-created Monday Coffee in North Lawndale, which I love the name of. And she's got a let's give it a try attitude that just doesn't quit.
For me, that's a part of being an artist. It's good and it's bad, but it's also a big part of entrepreneurship. You can't be afraid to try things and fail.
Joe Donlin first met Amanda through her artwork almost 2 years ago, and tonight we catch up with her and see how her success has just grown. That's in Eye on Chicago on our news tonight at 10. And speaking of celebrating women, up next, a Chicago poet with a message of empowerment.
That's right. Chicago's own K-Love the Poet joins us live in studio as she prepares for a show stop at City Winery tonight.
And for today's Jumpstart, we're back at the DuPage Children's Museum, looking more like a beach playground as families looking for a spring break activity are there and they are playing.
And our taste of spring yesterday is long gone when we were in the mid-70s. Only low mid-40s near the lake, some 50s when you head away from that chilly water. But we have a first alert on storm chances building first Tuesday night. But boy, Wednesday could be pretty active. I'll time out the hazards in your first alert forecast.
Welcome back. Lady Gaga is bringing her Mayhem Ball tour to Chicago, and ticket pre-sales start in just a few hours. Mother Monster will play 2 nights at the United Center on September 15th and 17th. The pre-sales begin at noon today for City card members. Ticket sales open to everyone at noon on Thursday. This is Lady Gaga's first arena tour since 2018, but she has done a residency in Las Vegas as well. If you're looking for a spring break getaway without going too far, the DuPage Children's Museum is hoping to bring the beach to you.
And so much more. The museum's offering beach-themed activities and more, as I said, for the whole family. Our Darius Johnson has a look at this interactive space. Good morning, Darius. You've been trying it all this morning.
Ladies, I've been trying it all, but I think I'm outnumbered at this point. It's like the club in here. All the kids are here. They started early this morning. I mean, just look at this place. It is going bonkers, and we're going to show you everything that's going on. This is the place for you to bring your kid. If you want them, hold on, we got to make sure we guide Dave Kennebrew because the kids are everywhere, and they are about to run him over. Joining me again, Kimberly Stoll. You are the Executive Vice President of Joyful Learning, and this indeed is Joyful Learning.
It is indeed.
Talk to me about everything you have going on here, and we may walk a little bit, but we have to navigate our way through.
Yes, so we have all kinds of playful learning going on in here that really focuses on art, math, and science. And so you'll see a lot of very beautiful exhibits and beautiful loose parts to play with that really have their basis in science and math.
What's this cool piece right here? There are so many kids around it.
Our magnetiles, which do amazing things. A lot of great pretend play goes on here. And then it's all founded in math concepts. So that kids are learning math while they're playing and creating their fantasy story.
So truly every station is providing them some different type of learning.
Right. And everything here is designed using the universal design principles to make sure that everything is accessible, both cognitively and physically. We want everyone to be able to come and enjoy, and we try to create spaces to fit the needs of all families.
Now, I have noticed, this is one thing that I've seen throughout the day, and I think this is great to mention. a lot of kids are here, even kids who may experience some learning disabilities of that nature. Talk to me a little bit about that, because they've all been able to enjoy just as much as every other kid.
That's right. One of the great things about our exhibits is that we build and design exhibits with the idea that every time a child interacts with it, they're going to learn something new and build on the knowledge that they had of it before. So I don't care whether you're 2 years old, 10 years old, or 50 years old, you can get something out of that experience.
Nice. We have about a minute left. Right now we're in the cabana room, and inside this room, these kids can essentially create their own cabana. Talk to us about this.
So you can hear the immediate drop in sound level in here. Our floor gets so busy, especially during spring break. We have 2 different areas in the museum with a nice calming, quiet place where everyone get a little, away from that sensory. We have some sand tables over here to be able to explore and play in the sand, as well as just some nice ocean sounds.
And yeah, so, this is all-encompassing for the kids. It's not only the beach, but you also have all the other different activities as well. You all are open 5, 6, 7 days a week?
7 days a week.
7 days a week from 9 a.m. until?
9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on weekdays and 9 to 5 on weekends.
All right, perfect. And you can sign up on their website if you like a membership, or you can just check out their website for any day passes. We have a lot of information at cbschicago.com also. And yeah, it's a lot of fun for the kiddies.
Yes, and they can come try it out, and if they like it, convert their admission into membership.
All right, perfect. You heard it right here from Naperville. We are live at the DuPage Children's Museum. Hey, bring the kiddos out. I think they will have a great time here. I even had some fun.
It looks like a blast. I'll tell you, thanks so much, Darius. My kids are too old for that now.
Yeah.
But man, if they were still little, that is one of the first places I would bring them, especially when the weather, right, Mary Kay? When the weather is so not friendly.
Oh my gosh. Exactly, and we raised our kids in Naperville, so we were long-standing members of that museum, and it is great fun, for sure. And today will be a good day for it, because temperatures are going to struggle. We're stuck in the 40s, but it feels like the 20s right now because of the winds out there. Then we're looking for storms at night on Tuesday, but the biggest threat for severe weather comes on Wednesday. Already, the Storm Prediction Center kind of keeping an eye on our area. We are monitoring each model run to get the exact storm track. It's still a little too far away to put an exact timing on this and an exact storm track. So we are going to fine tune this run hour by hour as we get closer. But what we do know, the Storm Prediction Center already for tomorrow night has Chicago at a level 1 on a scale of 1 to 5. But start heading to LaSalle County, DeKalb County, Quad Cities. That's where we see a level 2. And then as we move through the overnight on Wednesday, that severe threat really ramps up. Our entire area has a level 3 for severe weather on Wednesday. That'll be a very active day that we will be tracking storms. So let's time everything out for us. We're hoping for a little late day sun, even though we're going to have that cool wind off the lake today. And then we could probably start with brief sunshine Tuesday until at night we start seeing those storm chances building into the night. Wednesday, the full line takes shape ahead of that area of low pressure. If it tracks across Wisconsin, which models are favoring for that, we would be on the mild, moist side of the system. That really enhances these storms as they run through. So a squall line will probably take shape as the heat of the day Wednesday takes on. So we will monitor that, of course, and we'll all be here to track it for you. 35 degrees. That north wind is making it feel like 25, so it's cloudy, feels like the 20s. Here are the clouds right now, but some clearing maybe before the sun goes down. Tomorrow is still chilly. Wednesday is our weather alert day, but keep in mind that could start as soon as Tuesday night. Chilly at Wrigley. Boy, those winds out of the northeast may be gusty, so that means game time temperatures feeling like the upper 30s. So chilly changes as we start this work week. Let's get a check of the roads now. Chris Habermel is live in the First Alert Traffic Center for us and has a look at that. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Mary Kay. It sure does wake you up when you go outside, especially after the weekend warmth. But now, I guess the kind of break in the bad weather is enough, despite the temperature, to get some road work done. So let's go ahead and jump to the maps. I will show you I've got a lot of red still out there left over from the morning, the dawn patrol per se, and especially on the Bishop Ford. But I do have better news for riders of the CTA Brown line. Trains are back on the move again. They had a mechanical issue on one train right around Montrose. So Kimball to Belmont they still are catching up on the schedule, so expect some residual delays there. As we go in a little bit closer, you can see the inbound side of the Bishop Ford's a parking lot from about 115th to right past 103rd. They're doing some midday patchwork right there. The inbound side of the Eisenhower unusually heavy from 25th Avenue all the way into Cicero. IDOT is on the scene. We have a stalled van, did not want to go all the way to work there. So at Cicero Avenue, it conked out in the right center lane. And not too terribly far away, of course, the delay maker, the Kennedy, as they fix that up. Have a great day. Drive safe. Let's be nice to each other. Chris Habermill, CBS News Chicago.
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, now we have a real treat for you. She has been on stage with some of the biggest names in music like Common, Jasmine Sullivan, to name a couple. And tonight, Chicago's own K-Love the Poet will have her own show at City Winery.
Yes, and we are so lucky that K-Love the Poet herself is joining us right now. So welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
So how did you get into spoken word?
You know, it's so many different versions of a story about it, but I'll tell you about my grandmother. Retired assistant principal at a school that used to be called Bryn Mawr. She was a teacher before she was assistant principal, and she had me memorize a poem that she had her 5th grade class memorize called Harriet Tubman Didn't Take No Stuff and Wasn't Scared of Nothing Either. And I memorized it, and I just remember feeling so excited that I could memorize it, and I liked the rhythm of it, and it's seemingly I've been writing it at least ever since.
Wow. So what are some of the themes, or what is your messaging, if you will? Do you tackle a set number of subjects, and where do you get that inspiration?
So the staples of my brand are vulnerability, integrity, transparency, authenticity, and love. So all of my poetry always encompasses all of those things. My poetry is for humans, people that have emotions. So if you have emotions, then it's for you.
I love it. You're going to be performing a piece called Scars for us right now, which is something that you will be performing tonight at City Winery as well. The show is sold out, so we're going to let you take it away.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
I hang around moon mamas who suffer through womb traumas, mastectomies, and more, still out here soaring with their sores. See me, I need friends with flaws. I'll take my mentors marred in mistakes, laced with lessons, still questioning life, cause ain't nobody always been right. So tell me about that time your crown almost fell off and you almost fell off your path. Tell me about that light that lit your path so well. Do tell about those relationships that set sail and fail. See me, I hang around humans, people with pimples and problems, who ain't afraid to rock them. You can catch them on any given day. They be out here walking through Gotham like, you wanna know how I got these scars? Villains turn victors, cause they're still standing, works of art, unapologetic about their aesthetics, cause they done been through it all, and we be each other's band-aids till we get better. See, beneath the pus we can laugh, pick our scabs together, call me when your stitches itch. I'm unbothered by your blemishes, they could never diminish your dope, cause every time you get the courage to show the world your gory glory, you administer hope. And what if stars are really just scars on the body of a melanated sky, placed there by God, by design, to remind you of that time you survived when you literally thought you would die. Never be ashamed of your scars, for they made you exactly who you are.
Welcome back, everyone. Here's a look at the stories that we are keeping an eye on today.
Police in Hammond, Indiana say they have someone in custody in connection to a deadly mass shooting at a bar over the weekend. 2 people died and 3 others were injured at Portside Pub near 116th Street and Indianapolis Boulevard around 4 o'clock yesterday morning. Police say it started as a domestic situation in the parking lot.
We're now learning a 3rd child has died after a house fire in northwest suburban Carpentersville. That's according to a friend of that family. It happened at a home on Kingston Circle at 9:30 yesterday morning. Firefighters rescued 4 people, but 3 children and 2 dogs died.
The Chicago Teachers Union will be reviewing a potential contract agreement with Chicago Public Schools. This afternoon, CTU's bargaining team will consider a full package of proposals. If it's approved, rank and file union members and the Chicago Board of Education will need to vote on it.
And we have clouds and cold air for now. Feels like the 20s when you factor in the wind, but we're hoping for a little bit of late day clearing, but it will be colder by the lakefront because of that wind off the water. So we are talking low 40s lakeside, low 50s well inland. So we are colder than normal, about 10 degrees colder today, even tomorrow. Tomorrow night we start watching for a storm threat, really amplifying that on Wednesday. We have a weather alert posted for that severe threat. Late in the week we cool down again for the Cubs with that breeze off the water and 49 degrees. So chilly for us today, maybe some late day sun. Jackie, Dana.
Hope so, Mary Kay. Thank you. And thank you for joining us here on the News at 9. Your local news continues right here on the stream.
Have a great day and stay safe.